What's going on, everybody? Brian here from Brian's Broadcast. I hope all of you are doing fantastic. Today, we're going to do a review of Zaharoff Signature Seraphim Blue, the first ever completely blue fragrance offering from this house. Now, of course, this fragrance have been in development for a long time, and George finally released the fragrance for us, and honestly, I took my time with this. Other reviewers may have just rushed it. Me personally, I won't rush it. I waited. I used this fragrance. I waited until the temperatures really soared up in New York City. It became hot, humid, and it was a nightmare. And that was the original reason why I waited to try out this fragrance. Let me show you this beautiful box. It's all silver with that chrome and that angel design right there, right? So if you will know, Seraphim is basically one of the more powerful angels. It's like the protector of the realm. Game of Thrones fans, let me know in the comments. So this fragrance, it's very different. This beautiful bottle resembles nothing else that I've ever seen. And George has been working really hard to bring out some really nice bottles. The design, the pluck, and everything wonderfully done. Now, a lot of people did not end up liking this fragrance, and there's good reason. I'll tell you why. First, let me tell you about the notes. It's an eau de parfum concentration if you're interested. So on the top, you've got apple, lavender, rosemary, and eucalyptus. On the mids, you've got blue cypress, immortelle, iris, coconut, orange flower, marine notes, mugain, which is like a floral note. On the base, you've got cistus, olibanum, red seaweed, amber, and musk. Now, one might be wondering, oh man, eucalyptus. Why do I even have eucalyptus in a fragrance? Let me tell you something. This is, again, my personal thought. When you're talking or dealing with religious stuff, you are connecting with the supreme power. And eucalyptus oil, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, do correct me if I'm wrong. In the comments, do let me know. Eucalyptus oil has been one of those really old things that people used for worship and a lot of other things that resembled holy stuff, right? So, of course, Seraphim Blue, Seraphim being the name of the angel, one of the more powerful angels, the protector around God himself, definitely deserves some of that attention. So I believe that's where eucalyptus came in. George, do correct me if I'm wrong, but again, that's my personal feeling, my opinion, right? This fragrance opens up really nice. One might be offended by that eucalyptus. Give it 5 to 10 minutes. It tones down, becomes a whole different thing. The eucalyptus oil adds to that energizing, revitalizing kind of vibe if you really end up liking it. Now, of course, the apple is adding, it's not one of the fruity apples, but it adds to the texture. That's what I felt. And the lavender, apple and lavender has this classic combination where it kind of like becomes like that barbershop kind of feel, but this is not a complete barbershop kind of fragrance. It's more on the blue side. It's very fresh, refreshing, energizing, invigorating once this fragrance starts drying down. And again, of course, there's rosemary, so there's this herbaceous feel up top. Once the fragrance starts drying down, what I noticed is that the presence of coconut, it's kind of like pronounced. It's one of that, not sweet, but just the salty kind of coconut water that I'm talking about. It's more on the water side, coconut water that has that salty texture and taste to it. That's the kind of coconut you feel over here. It's not super pronounced. It's not like one of your suntan kind of coconut vibe. No, it's very natural smelling. The iris over here, what I felt is more on the buttery, waxy, slightly tad bit smoky kind of iris in this fragrance. And I would say it's a beautiful feeling. Doesn't have to be powdery all the time, right? It perfectly matches because remember, on the top you've got all that fresh, at the same time oily rich, dense, herbaceous vibes. If you put like something that matches that texture, it just boosts that whole feeling in that fragrance. Marine notes are not super prominent, I would say. It's more like that clear, clean, salty water kind of vibe, but it's not like a marine, like not like Aqua di Gio, the original one, it's not like that. It's not even like Dolce Gabbana O Intense, light blue O Intense. It's not even like that. It's a very different feeling. It's more on the calm and quieter side of thing. It's not one of that rush of the ocean kind of vibe. It's more chilled up, very soothing, very matured kind of vibe that you get over here. Now, of course, the other things that work in the background, the orange flower, the blue cypress. The blue cypress is pretty much prominent, I would say. Like you do get that kind of like that forest kind of vibe where you get that herbaceous, woody kind of undertone, some slight bitterness. And at the same time, the immortal, that herbaceous and floral kind of thing kind of adds to that like that hay kind of vibe to this fragrance, which in my opinion is perfectly balancing all the waxy and the other notes. Very nicely done. For the drying down, it kind of becomes ambery and musky. Now, of course, the muskiness, it's more on like the cleaner side. It's not one of your fruity musk. It's not one of your detergent kind of musk, but it's more on like the clean white bedsheet kind of vibe. It's very clean, very prominent, I would say. And the amberness kind of adds to that smoky kind of vibe that you're getting from the iris somewhere in the mids. Beautifully executed fragrance and all true, all true. Don't get me wrong. You may be asking, where's the blue? I'm telling you something. This fragrance, the whole time, you will feel the blue. You don't get the blue here in the notes directly, but you will feel that blue kind of vibe. Just like how sometimes you get that white floral, yellow florals. Over here, you get that blue vibe. And it's a beautiful fragrance, lasts a long time. Although it's an eau de parfum concentration, it lasts way past 10 hours on my skin. I go with like 10 to 12 sprays, easily 10 hours. And of course, in this hot and humid condition in New York City right now. So of course, even though I'm sweating, the fragrance is getting washed over. It's being dragged around on my inside my clothes, on my skin, like it's getting brushed around, but nothing happens. It keeps on wafting very nicely. It's not a very loud projector, but honestly, it stays close to you, but it keeps on wafting. It's like one of that slow burning candles. Really, really enjoyable stuff. May not be for everybody because that eucalyptus thing might be offensive for some of you, but honestly, try it out. They have visual samples. Try it out. And honestly, Seraphim Blue has been a wonderful experience for me. Guys, that was my humble and honest take on Seraphim Blue from the house of Zaharoff. Let me know in the comments, have you ever used this fragrance? If you're interested, or any other Zaharoff fragrance that you have used, what do you feel about them? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button if you like contents like these. Thank you for your audience. I really appreciate all the support and love that you guys have shown to me. Thank you so much. And until the next one, please take care, stay safe, and all the best.